going on, guys? Welcome back. We're going to take a little bit deeper dive into energy expenditure and energy balance. A lot of times, we talk about calories and a lot of people will say calories don't matter and what about this example and that example. And here's what we know. It's two sides of an equation. And in one side of your equation, you have energy coming in, so calories that we eat or drink. That's the only two ways that we can get calories in. And with technology and all the data we have on food now, it's really easy to actually measure and track those calories and macros coming in, as long as you, the client, or you, the person on this journey, is accurately weighing out your food and accurately tracking your portions in an app of some sort. Or if you are a piece of paper, pen and paper person, that's totally okay as well. You could track it that way based off of the serving size on the nutrition labels, right? That side of the equation is really easy. And oftentimes we focus on that side of equation and we tell people like, oh, you're not eating enough, you're eating too much, you need to eat more healthy foods. We have all of this nutrition advice coming into people because we're only focused on this side of the equation and we're completely forgetting about the other side of the equation, which is calories out. We have to talk about both. We can't just talk about food coming in. We have to talk about calories and energy going out to balance out this equation or to create some sort of surplus or deficit depending on your goals of weight loss versus weight gain, right? So let's talk about this other side of the equation and I'll tie in the pieces of why both matter. But let's talk about, there's 4 ways to get energy out. Remember, there's only one way to get energy in, but there's 4 ways to get energy out. The first is going to be your BMR or your RMR. Basal metabolic rate, resting metabolic rate, doesn't really matter. They're pretty similar within a couple, 100, 200 calorie difference. But it's essentially the bare minimum amount of calories it takes you to stay alive. And this is depicted by your height, your age, your weight, your gender, your muscle mass, and some hormones as well, because hormones can affect all of these other things, right? So that's going to be your basal metabolic rate or your resting metabolic rate. The other 3 ways we get calories out, one, and which is going to be the most important to think about, is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, N-E-A-T for short. So with non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that is all the things that I am doing while I'm talking to you. I'm moving my hands, I'm counting on my fingers, I'm doing all of this craziness going on right here. That is non-exercise thermogenesis. People who are naturally more hyper, ADHD, and they're moving and they're tapping their leg and you're like, oh my goodness, you have resting leg syndrome, or restless leg syndrome, sorry. All of those things help us burn more calories. If you can sit like a slug and not move, your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, can actually be relatively low. This number, aside from your BMR, so let's say your BMR is 1,500 calories a day, which is average. So 1,500 calories a day is your BMR. That's not really going to change throughout time. It's going to maybe fluctuate a little bit, but as you age, it slows down, but not what we think it does. That's a pretty constant thing after, the age of puberty up until 40, 50, 60 years old. But non-exercise activity thermogenesis can fluctuate from essentially 0 calories a day to hundreds of calories a day, 500, 600, 700 calories a day, based off of how active we are, not in the form of exercise. So again, tapping your leg, moving around and fidgeting, talking with your hands, brushing your hair, moving your head, like whatever you're doing that is not exercise but causing you to burn calories, absolutely, that's a huge fluctuation. It could be your chores that you're doing, it could be housework, it could be all type playing with kids and dogs and stuff like that. Could be a lot of calories, could be very little to no calories, okay? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is a thing that I want you to probably focus on much more. Are we being lazy? Are we getting in our steps? Are we sitting on the couch watching Netflix, playing on our phone? Or are we playing with our kids, playing with our dogs, doing housework, chores, walking, all of those good stuff, okay? The next is going to be your thermic effect of activity. That is going to be your planned exercise, okay? This is going to be, hey, I'm going to go for a walk for 60 minutes. I'm going to hit my 10,000 steps a day. I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. I'm going to do yoga, Zumba, all of these things that are planned exercised activity things. that boils up into that. It's a set period of time that is structured and planned. Even if you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go play a sport, I'm going to go play football, I'm going to go play basketball, that is considered exercise because it's planned and it's timed. There's a start time and an end time. Whereas in our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, we don't know when we're going to play with our dog or our kid, and we don't know how long it's going to last. It could be 5 minutes, could be 10 minutes, right? And so it's not planned, it's not structured. Whereas activity, the thermic effect of activity, is. Last but not least is the thermic effect of food. This is essentially the concept of, as we eat calories, it takes calories to break it down, digest it, and utilize it. Protein has the highest thermic effect. Fiber has the next highest thermic effect. Complex carbs, that word that gets thrown around there, has another high thermic effect. So this means that if I eat 100 calories of protein, I'm probably only going to be able to store about 80 to 75 to 80 of those calories, because that's about a 20 to 25% thermic effect. Fats, on the other hand, only has like a 2 to 5 thermic effect, 2 to 5%. So if I eat 100 calories from fat, I'm left with, what's the math on that? 95 calories left over to still be able to utilize and store as potential energy and body fat. Whereas protein, I'm left with a lot less calories. So this is why 99% of all of your weight loss diets are going to be high protein for this reason, high fiber for this reason, lots of fruits and vegetables for this reason, because the complexity is so high, the thermic effect is so high, the fiber is so high, the protein is so high. It's going to help you burn more calories, okay? So why is understanding this side of the equation so important? Because if we are under eating our calories, if we are, let's say we're on a 1200 calorie diet, a crash diet, whatever the case may be, we're not prioritizing protein, we're not eating a bunch of carbs to help us give energy throughout the day, fats, all this stuff. If we're under eating this stuff, it could bring your caloric expenditure down as well. So we're eating less, but we're also burning less. And since we're burning less, now we don't have that caloric deficit anymore, and our weight loss stops, or it slows down, or whatever the case may be. So oftentimes people say, well, I raised your calories back up. And since I raised your calories back up, you started losing weight. And that's because calories don't matter, and you were under eating and you were in starvation mode. No, that's not what happens. What happened is you gave the client more calories, or you gave yourself more calories, and it sped this stuff back up. You were able to go be more active with your kids, with your dogs, cleaning the house. You didn't sit around and just take a nap or play on your phone. You were active. You increased your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or our workouts. When you chronic diet and you're on a strict caloric diet, you're not going to work out as hard as you think you are. You're not going to work out as long as you think you are. You're not going to recover as well as you think you are. And all of these things are decreasing calories burned from exercise. So that number went down. We give you some more calories, that number comes back up. Probably 2-3 times the amount of calories that we increased it. So if I increase your calories by 300, over here on this other side of the equation, we could burn up to 1,000 extra calories just from these 300 calories over here, okay? And then last but not least is the thermic effect of food. I increased your calories over here by a couple hundred, but by doing so, I added complex carbs, fruits, and a lot of protein. Your thermic effect of food also went up as well, okay? So it has nothing to do with the energy balance is a lie or calories don't matter. It has everything to do with your reaction to said calories consumed. So again, we drop our calories significantly, all of your energy out is going to decrease as well. This isn't your metabolism slowing down. Remember, your basal metabolic rate is fairly constant almost your entire life. The other three, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, thermic effect of food, and thermic effect of exercise or activity, these three things are also going to slow down to match the calories you're eating. A little bump in calories could create a massive bump in calories out. Could boost your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, could boost your exercise calories, and could boost your thermic effect of food, therefore creating a bigger calorie deficit and allowing you to see more weight loss more rapidly or to pick back up again, right? Now, a couple things we can do if we don't want to increase calories consumed. So let's say we want to stay on a 1200 calorie diet. Well, then we need to track these other things over here much closer. We need to make sure you're getting 10,000 steps a day. We need to make sure that you're exercising for an hour on your normal schedule. We need to make sure that your routine hasn't changed a bit. We're not sitting down and taking naps. We're not going to do these lazy things. We're going to stick to the plan. We're going to stick to our chores. We're going to stick to playing with our kids, stick to playing with the dogs, stick to walking the dog. All of these things have to stay constant, and your caloric expenditure will stay relatively high. But what happens is when we get onto this diet and things on this side of the equation start to slow down, we're not really tracking them anyway. And so we don't notice that they're slowing down. So of course, when someone gives you more calories and these things speed up, you really don't notice, or you're not paying attention to these things speeding up. And so you're just like, oh my goodness, I ate more calories, I lost more weight. My coach gave me more calories, I lost more weight. But what really happened was it wasn't the calories, it wasn't this energy balance that's not correct. The energy balance is still true. It's just that you were able to massively increase calories out, okay? So for anyone who says that calories in versus calories out don't matter, or it's not true, or you need to eat more calories to lose more weight, that's not true. You don't have to eat more calories to lose more weight. We just need to track this other side of the equation much, much more accurately, much, much more consistently. And in doing so, we'll be able to have a better idea of what kind of caloric deficit you're in, or what kind of caloric surplus you're in. And then we can manipulate any two sides of these equations. We can manipulate calories if we wanted to. We can manipulate protein if we wanted to. We can manipulate carbs if we wanted to adjust for calories coming in. And in doing so, we could also adjust or create a different environment over here with calories going out. So everyone likes to brag about this side of the equation, and people lose sight of this side. Oh, I'm doing the keto diet and I lost a bunch of weight. Oh, I'm doing high protein and I lost a bunch of weight. Or I'm on a crash diet and I'm not seeing any progress. Or my coach dropped my calories and I'm not seeing any progress. Or my coach increased my calories and I'm seeing way more progress, right? So we just lose sight of the both sides of the equation, and they're both equally important. We just seem to forget about one or the other, and whichever one we pay more attention to seems to get all the focus and all the hype and all the credit. But it's a twofold equation. You can't have one side without the other. And so we need to pay attention to both sides. But what coaches will do, what marketing tactics will do, is they will target one of the side of the equation and tell you that you're wrong and you need them as a coach because they're gonna make it right. They're gonna give you more calories. They're gonna give you this, they're gonna give you that. And it's gonna make everything go better. But in reality, the equation is still the same, and you can do this on your own technically if you had the accountability or the discipline or the routine and the structure, all the good stuff. You don't really need a coach. I tell people this all the time. If you think you can figure it out on your own, you can hold yourself accountable on your own, you're happy with your progress on your own, you really don't need a coach. The job of a coach is to just implement things, helpful tools, tips, tricks, resources throughout the process to make this easier, faster, funner for you, help you when you get stuck, because plateaus do happen, help you create a better balance between nutrition and life. We all know that we struggle with that balance. We love to resort to food for our happy place, and we need a better relationship with activity, whether it's the NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or just planned exercise as well. And so coaches can help you manipulate all of these things to elicit better, faster, stronger results, and also hold you accountable when life gets tough, okay? So I hope this was helpful. I hope you realize that calories in versus calories out, or the energy balance equation, is the only way to lose weight, gain weight, or maintain weight. And we can manipulate either side of the equation. Again, energy coming in through calories and drinks, food and drinks, and energy going out through your BMR, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, thermic effect of activity, and thermic effect of food. We can manipulate these things to help elicit a different response.